gently, see if you can just play with that kind of natural or involuntary breath. Just letting the air move through you, not worried about it, not managing that breath. And as you continue to just find ease in your body, notice your bony anatomy, that you're right up on your sitting bones, and then gently rock to the back of your sitting bones. Come right back up to perch, and then a little rock back. For you, that may be a really generous movement. It may be really petite. Find that little toggle. Sit right back up, recognizing that there is some work happening in the front and back of your core to make these two actions occur. Let's take that one last time. Come up to sit, and now shifting our breath into being a very voluntary skill, meaning we are deeply in charge of it. Imagine that sensation of your low bolt pulling in. That's a cue that most of you know. And from here, start to pull the air in through your nose, down through your throat, and imagine it going all the way to the base of the lungs before you exhale in the reverse. In through the nose, down through the throat, down into the base of the lungs. Exhale, and we offer that air out. Let's try two more. As I exhale, I actually want to think of directing the breath so forcefully that I could blow out a candle on a cupcake, right? It has a real purpose to it. Now shift your energy and awareness into your left lung. Start to breathe into just the left side. Should feel trickier for sure, but still possible. Two more, y'all. Last time, just that left lung filling with air. Now we shift, pull the air into that right lung. As we breathe into that right side, see if you can also notice differences between your two sides, right? Some of us feel that in a really profound way. For others of us, it's a little more subtle. But none of us are totally symmetrical. Now go back to the breath into both sides. Three more, just like that. Those lungs go all the way down towards your waist. They actually start just slightly above your collarbones. So we're really talking about that air filling up a huge surface area inside the body. I find that really helpful as I imagine the air moving through that respiratory system. It's a much bigger surface area than I might imagine. Now take a beat. We're all going to shift our orientation so that I move towards the center of my mat. If you chose to sit on a chair or a pillow, this would be a great time to come down to your mat. I'm going to start with my feet and knees apart. They are hip width. And as I perch my hands right up onto my shins, I'm going to focus on my breath and my low bolt. Remember, that's the one in the pelvis. So I'll sit tall as I inhale. As I exhale, I'm going to think of that low bolt pulling back. Man, that's small, right? It's a small motion. Inhale, lengthen again. Exhale, pulling back into that little bit of round. Two more just like this. Exhale, rolling back. Notice how you are shifting to the back of your sitting bones. Let's take it one last time. Exhale, little roll back. Now, new idea. You're going to sit yourself up. Find a diamond shape in the legs, very elongated shape, and your fingertips will land to your sternal bone. Turning our attention to the breath moving in the front and back of our body, we'll inhale to lift the sternum. And as we exhale, we pull the sternum back. Now the round is happening in the upper or thoracic spine. Breastbone rises, breastbone pulls back. Check in with yourself. Make sure this is an action that's happening still in the ribcage, not your head. One way to help yourself do that is to actually set your eyeball focus and then just leave it there. The movements in that upper spine. Let's try one more. My head isn't really toggling. It's a much more subtle but important event in the upper rib cage. Now from here, we're gonna sit up, join the knees and feet together, reestablish the hands to the shins, and we put the two ideas together. I sit tall, and now I pull the low bolt back and the sternum back to craft what looks like a lowercase C in my spine. Come back to the top, exhale, roll. Now you may discover as you do this that you'll actually get a little bit more movement in your body by drawing your feet closer to you. So let this be a little moment of experimentation. Where's that sweet spot where I can fully roll back and get my arms to completely extend while I deepen that C curve? Let's try two more. I'm seeing some beautiful images in my little viewfinder, so well done, y'all. Last one, just like this, big sit. Exhale, we roll to stay. Now we're gonna hold this C curve, draw the hands to the back of the thighs, but notice the elbows are lifted. Essentially, you've turned your body into kind of a ball shape, a fully three-dimensional shape. 3 times, I'd like you to squeeze your seat, tuck your tail, and pull your low bolt in more. I know it's tricky to see, but there really is a scooping effect in the pelvis. Let's try one more. And then we're gonna keep that squeeze, scoop, tuck as we float our focus. From here, I'm gonna roll the pelvis towards the mat as I inhale. As I exhale, that pelvis stays still and I try to pull the rib cage up and over. I do this exercise as a daily practice, and although I don't always love it, I know that it's really effective, right? Because I'm gonna immediately start to feel layers of abdominals working. I'm also gonna start to break a little sweat, right? So it's both heat producing and it's gonna help me to tap into those layers of core. As we roll and scoop, the deepest and most superficial layer are truly working. And now we'll roll back. I'm gonna throw you a major curveball. As you squeeze the seat, tuck the tail, hold the waist in, right arm reaches. If you're feeling feisty this morning, maybe even the left arm. Those two arms are gonna open wide and I'm gonna squeeze them back in. Yeah, it should feel hard, y'all. Reaching, exhale, squeezing in. We are now layering in the other two big abdominal muscles, internal and external obliques, which is why this starts to feel so dang hard. This time the arms open, we take a little roll back. When we bring the arms forward, we take a little curl. Yes, we're in the home stretch. Yes, we're noticing some heat. 2 more, little reach. Last and final curveball, arms open, we roll back. See if you can float the hands just 2, 3, 4 inches as you hold, breathe, connect, engage, and you did it. Sit yourself up, come into a diamond shape with those legs, and gently round your spine forward. Head gets heavy. Imagine now your pelvis comes forward, your spine comes forward, and then I feel that release of my skull. Gently roll back up into your seated position. Draw the knees in together. Walk the feet hip width apart. Remember, that's the distance of my 2 fists. So I can see that, I can check my work. And then from here, I'm gonna lift once more. I'm gonna roll back into that C curve. And then I get to use my hands as support on the back of my thighs to peel myself into my mat. I'm gonna do just a little personal adjustment so you can see what's going on. I am leaving the traditional Matwork sequence to help optimize the mobility in our back. So just know if you love the classic 36 sequence, I am leaving that. Now I'm going to keep the feet pushed into the mat, a sense of energy of the arms pressing down. And from here, I'll locate that low bolt. Deep breath in. That bolt feels like it tightens. In other words, my abdominals absorb or retract down as I engage the seat and roll the pelvis. Let's peel that spine back down into the mat. There's your moment of elongation. And we try it again. So initially, I'd like you to bring your awareness and focus to the feeling of absorbing abs to roll pelvis. Can I feel that sense of drawing in? I might even imagine like a button in a mattress. That button pulls down and it creates a kind of divot, right? That's that deep layer working again. Now I'm going to ask you to do 4 more, but let's shift our focus a bit. So same roll up. Now, as I roll down, I want to imagine that intense scoop continuing, but I'm actually lengthening each and every bone further away. In other words, the roll up is active, but so too is the rolling down. That I'm not dumping the spine, but as I peel down, I'm actually articulating and doing a kind of internal tractioning. Now that's tricky. That takes a minute to catch, but it's a great option to start to really decompress the spine. This time we'll peel down, and I'd like you to find that place where your pelvis feels stable. Pubic bone and hip bones on the same plane. For most of us, that's going to create a little bit of space between our waist and our back. The degree of that space is dependent on you. As you reach the arms to the ceiling, find the width of your breath again. As you exhale, curl forward, but keep the pelvis still. You should notice there's a real end point. I just can't go any further, right? I'm stuck there. And then I'm going to come back down. Now, just like I have a bolt in my pelvis, I also want to think of that bolt tightening high in the rib cage, and that high bolt moves to the low bolt. Peel right back down. We're just going to do 1 more because this is not one of my favorites. And we get to come back up. So again, I just want you to notice that end point. Come back down and let's see if we can go past that end point. First thing I'm going to ask you to do is feel those feet push into the mat. Give me a little sink of that low bolt and see if you can roll just your tail off the mat. So it's about 1 inch of bony anatomy. It's very small. I'll notice a little bit of action in my seat too. Now with the same integrity, I'll breathe in. And as we exhale, that high bolt once again moves to the low bolt, but I should feel a little bit more range. I'm going to come back down. Exhale, waist stays imprinted, tail stays curled. I get to peel up again. Come right back down. Same idea, squeeze seat, tuck tail, sink, waist, curl, and now grab onto the back of your thighs. Those arms are active, that waist is sunk. I'm going to literally feel my head pull back and my throat open. That upper body is so easy. As you inhale, I want you to try to curl a little higher. Dang, that's hard. Exhale, sink your waist. Inhale, curl higher. Exhale, sink your waist, right? The inhale is actually helping me to get up. The exhale reconfirms the scoop. Last one, curl up. Exhale, come down and take a little breather. Nice work, y'all. From here, I'd like you to open the arms into a cactus position, or you could think goalpost. From here, your head, neck, and shoulders stay still, but we get to let the hips and knees rotate to the right. Could be big or small, depends on you. Just a little twist. Come back to the center. Rotate other side. Notice that it's the pelvis moving. Shoulders have not at all. 1 more. Pelvis moving. Watch that you're not giving me movement in the shoulder. So it could be smaller than you want it to be. Once more. And come back to the center. Building on what we just did, glide the arms up to the ceiling, feet push down, tail curl scoops, waist imprints the mat. I notice the breath expanding the rib cage. Head, neck, shoulders curl up again, and as I did previously, I'm going to grab onto the back of those thighs. Now, upping the ante substantially, throat stays open, 2 legs draw in and up to tabletop. Now, like I did before, I'm going to inhale to peel up another inch. Exhale, I sink the waist. Watch that you didn't move your thighs. Inhale, curl up. Exhale, sink the waist. You're coming into your highest scoop. You know where I'm going. Inhale, curl up. Exhale, sink the waist. Right arm reaches, left arm reaches, pumping arms. In for 2 and out for 2. Curling higher, sinking waist. Fast and furious. Very vigorous. 3, 2. Last one, stay here. Legs reach as we breathe in. Exhale, pull those knees tight. Inhale, reach. Can you curl higher? Exhale, sink to pull. Last time, y'all. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sink and take a break. Gently circle the knees in opposition to one another. Big, generous, loping circles. Reverse that circle, you all. Heading into our next pelvic press variation, you're going to reset those 2 feet into the mat. Again, they remain hip width apart. Quickly check in, make sure your heel isn't underneath your knee, but forward of. Arms will again open wide to facilitate movement in my rib cage. And as my feet press down, I breathe in. As I exhale, I engage core and seat and hammies to roll the pelvis. I continue to peel in that second breath through the base of the ribs, and I arrive at the tips of my shoulder blades so that I'm affecting a shape that looks like a plank rather than an arc or a bridge. Inhale and begin to roll down by softening in the sternum. Melting through the center of the ribs, the high bolt, the waist. Second breath, I get to peel all the way through. 2 breaths up, 2 breaths down. Once more. Yes, your seat is working, but the predominant force, the predominant energy is really in the core. Think of it being about an 80-20 split. Let's try once more. Holds that top position. Buns are squeezed, core is working. 4 times. Flex feet, press down. Shins work, hamstrings engaged. Seat is active, core is stable. Last one, flex, and place the feet. Roll down in 2 delicious breaths, thinking bone by bone. Second breath, we peel through the tail and arrive. Slide those feet substantially forward. You're going to walk the arms up. This will look very familiar. I'm going to feel that subtle imprint of my waist. And now from here, I'll take a breath in. Head, neck, shoulders curl. And then see if you can peel up just another inch before you migrate down. This is one of my little preparatory exercises for the classic roll-up. Now, if you need a little assist, you could always use those arms again to help you get through that sticky spot in the ribcage. We all have it. Once more. And we peel. Now this time, melt all the way down. Draw the left thigh into the chest. Give it a great big squeeze and start to circle that left ankle. Big, generous sloping circles. Reverse that. And now from here, actually press that left thigh bone forward. You'll notice my arms are straight. I'm in a tabletop, and I'm going to guide my right leg long. From there, I'll extend the left leg, coming into my stretch, right? Doesn't have to be a straight leg. It has to go to the place where you feel some lengthening down the back of that left thigh. So we will all look very different. Once you're at the apex of your stretch, locate your 2 feet again and flex both feet. Now from there, we'll pull that left knee into chest once more. You're going to take your right elbow and lasso it underneath that left knee. My left arm will land in the goalpost again, and as I keep my thigh exceptionally close to my chest, I will once again roll the pelvis, and you may notice a little bigger range than what you did before. Keep the shoulder on the left side heavy, the focus of your eyes consistent. And now here's the big note, the big important detail, don't miss this. Release the right arm off the leg. Set that left foot back into the mat. Now I'll draw the right thigh in, giving it a squeeze first. Deep hip flexion as I articulate through the ankle. Reverse. And now as I did before, I'm going to push the right thigh forward, straight arms. I'm going to extend that bottom left leg, and I start to lengthen through the right thigh. Before we head into the full roll up, I always like to prep with a little bit of a hamstring stretch. This exercise does presuppose some real back line flexibility. Add in a flex of those two ankles. And now from there, rebend the right knee into chest. That left elbow lassos underneath. My right arm opens, creating stability and focus. And then I get to gently roll the pelvis now to the left. Didn't turn your head. Didn't lift the right shoulder. Just isolated that rotation. Big important detail, I gotta let that left arm go. And then I'm gonna draw the 2 feet into the mat. Now you have the option to roll off to a side and sit, or hug the knees and rock and roll up. But we are all gonna meet with the legs extended together, and then let the arms come forward. Now even this shape could feel like a stretch, right? Absolutely could show up in the back of the legs for some of us. Now from here, we're gonna point the feet as we breathe in, round over the legs. This is really about crafting an arc. I'm not collapsing over. So that's really important for those of you who have a lot of flexibility. As you feel that low bolt and high bolt pull in, take a deep breath here, and now pull the low bolt back. I want you to think of rolling back towards the base of your pelvis. Pause as you inhale, and then scoop back up. So I refer to this as roll up version 1. Pulling back, right? What is that sweet spot where I can roll back before I totally lose it, right? Scoop and peel. Now option 1, you can continue with roll back version 1. Option 2, if you feel ready, we're gonna add in the second breath, not to roll back up, but to actually continue to peel all the way down. Flex the feet if you've made that second choice. Exhale, start to curl. I can always use my arms to help me get past those sticky spots. Inhale, feet point. Exhale, we peel. Second breath, we roll it down. 2 feet flex. Head, neck, shoulders curl. Second breath, I scoop up and over. Try it once again. Point. We peel down. Next breath, we start to roll. Feet flex. Head, neck, shoulders go. Second breath, I reach up and over. Pause. Point the feet again. Give me a tiny bend on your knees. And now round into your deepest stretch. Once you've pulled pelvis, spine, and head forward, pause, and now actively press your calves and thighs down. We should feel an increase of our stretch. See if you can bring yourself even a little further forward. Again, I'm gonna leave the traditional Matwork sequencing, ask you to peel all the way up into a seated position. And we're gonna set up for a little rolling like a ball. So the first thing I'm gonna do is walk my feet uncomfortably close to me. I'm then gonna wrap my hands around my ankles. That is such an important detail. So if you're not all the way at your ankles, get as close to that as you can. It changes the exercise dramatically. We're gonna start with a little play of balance. So I'll come to the tips of my toes, and then I'm gonna find that little rock back that allows me to float my feet off the mat. Right? Balance is not stillness, so I'm making little tiny adjustments to stay here. And as I keep this idea of a round shape, I'm gonna do a little rock back and forth. Playing with exactly how much force is required before I either toss myself back or overshoot and have to perch with my toes. So for me, that's a really small motion, right? I don't have a big range there. You may have a bigger range, but we're just playing with that little action. Now, option 1, you can take a break or try a few more of those. Option 2, I go to the full rolling like a ball by continuing to squeeze the arms in. While keeping the feet together, I then push the knees out. So I've actually crafted a kind of V shape in the legs. That gives me a perfect place to tuck my forehead into my knees. And once I've established that, I'm going to keep looking to my low bull. And with the lightest bit of force, I'll just rock to the rib cage and then scoop back up on the exhale. Pause at the top. And now we are going to do 6 more of these, and I want you to see if you can find a rhythm. This is one of those exercises where the beat of the exercise really determines the success of it. So I think of it happening in kind of a quick waltz. Check in on that low bolt, light force back, ready, and rock back. 2, 3, scoop up, 2, 3, rock back, scoop up, equal time back, equal time up. Last 3. And scoop, scoop. Last 2, we're massaging back and stimulating our internal vestibular system. You did it. The rhythm is key. From here, those 2 legs are going to lengthen. I'm going to reach the arms up high. I'm going to round over into my great big C curve again. Inhale once more. Exhale, begin to peel back into your mat. Some of you may notice this starts to feel a little more manageable with heat and repetition. And once you've brought yourself all the way down, press the arms into the mat close to you. Notice I use the word press, and I really mean it. Left leg draws to tabletop. I imprint my waist, and that allows me to bring the right leg in as well. 3 times, you're going to extend the legs long and pull them right back to tabletop. Quadriceps engage, hamstrings lengthen. Not easy. Last one, I want you to extend the legs and imagine that your legs are up against a wall with your sitting bones at the baseboard. Welcome to the smallest movement ever. I'm going to feel my legs go up that imaginary wall as I exhale and curl my tail off the mat, set it down. Wow, it's really little. It's such a tiny motion. It's a little scoop, piggybacking off of what we did in that pelvic tilt. Bend the knees, pull them into you. Give them a gentle shake from side to side. We're headed into an advanced exercise. I'm going to go into the rollover. If this is new for you, please watch first and then try. The big key here is if you go into the rollover, do not move your head while doing the rollover. You're going to create some strain in your neck unnecessarily, and it's going to feel yucky. So in the rollover, taking a little bit of a simple choreography pathway, my arms press down, key detail. My legs extend for the ceiling again, and now I get a full inhale and exhale to do the same lift of the tail and roll back. Looks like this. My legs are essentially parallel to the ceiling. I'm going to open the legs the width of my mat, and as I make the next breath, I'll peel down through the spine, arriving back at that vertical. Inhale, leg scissor. Exhale, roll up and over. Separate the legs as you breathe in. Exhale, start to peel down. It's a lot. It's a doozy. It's advanced. Come together. Roll up and over. A lot of us are going to feel a big stretch in the back as we begin to migrate through this intense shape. One last time, y'all. Inhale together. Exhale, roll up and over, pelvis. Inhale, open. Exhale, peel, peel, peel. As the legs come together, draw the knees in towards you. Again, rock to a side sit, rock and roll up. We are now going to head into stomach series. This is an endurance challenge. So I get to take breaks when I need to, or I try to power through when I can. First, I'd like you to rock to the back of your sitting bones. I'm tapping into the choreography first because this is so important. I'm going to take my right hand and it's going to go to my right ankle. And then I'm just going to extend my left leg long, allowing that left hand to come to my right knee. So my outside arm is going around the outside of the leg to the ankle. And then I'm going to do a little switch. So I just like to map this out in my brain. Left hand outside of left ankle. Right hand outside of right ankle. Last one. And now let those knees come in. Let those feet drop down. Take a beat. And now you just say to yourself, I'm a badass. I'm going to do this. Here we go, stomach series. All right, roll back again. Draw that right leg in again. Right hand to right ankle. Left hand to right knee. I extend the left leg. I take a big breath in. And I peel pelvis, waist, and base of ribs down. I'm locked and loaded for single leg stretch. Switching in a double breath. Ready, and switch, switch. Just 4 sets here. Throat is open, curling high to meet the leg. Last set. Pull those 2 knees in and curl higher. Double leg stretch. Arms and legs reach out. We scoot back in. Curling up. Sink the waist. Fighting not to fall back under the weight of those arms. Pause. 2 legs reach high. Hang on to that right leg as you lower the left leg down, heading into our scissor. Double breath and switch, switch. Tempo slows to manage those fast, long legs. Last set. Now let's meet at the top. I stay in the curl and collect my hands to my skull. I'm going to walk the legs out as I breathe in. Sink the waist, pull the legs in closer. Imagine it as an action of the waist, pulling you back in and up. Last 2. Last 1. Pull in, legs to tabletop, curl up another inch. Your left armpit is going to go to your right knee as your left leg goes on, and you're going to rotate. Come back to center. Now we're into the crisscross. Come back to center. Pelvis quiet. Ribs are rotating. 1 more set, y'all. We are so in the home stretch. Last 1. And pause. Hug the knees and release. It's never easy, but it does get easier. From here, you all, return the left foot to the mat. Take that right knee over the left knee. Arms open into your cactus shape again. And we get to gently let the hips roll to the left. Again, opportunity to find that length and stretch through the obliques. Now track with your abdominals. Think of that low bolt pulling in to bring your pelvis back. Now, dramatic flourish is optional. But it's really fun to do a little rock cat kick here. So I'm going to do a little kick, kick, switch. Come on, it's kind of fun, right? Okay, so now my arms are in that goalpost. Pelvis is the leader, not the knees. So it does feel a little different, right? Again, I want to feel like pelvis and core bring me back. This time, just my left leg does the rock cat kick, and my feet come down. Hug the 2 knees into chest, roll to a side to sit, or rock and roll up. Once you've established that, I'd like you to lengthen the legs again, but you're gonna take a little baby bend in the knees. That's gonna allow me to quickly reach back and just sneak the flesh right off my sitting bones. And then I wanna take that moment to see if I can feel even more upright through the pelvis and the spine. I'm then going to launch the arms straight in front of me as if they were resting on the surface of a shelf or a table. And from here, I'll find that sense of length through my trunk again. We're headed into spine stretch. I'm going to start to peel my head, my neck, my shoulders, and my rib cage off an imaginary wall. Today, I'd like you to take a second breath in and see if you can start to feel the waist and the low back peel off the wall. Quite detailed, yes. Inhale, and now we roll the pelvis, low back, waist up the wall. And then we continue in that second breath to go through the rest of the spine. Let's try that again. 2 breaths down. That's a lot of breathing. Now I'm going to take one of those breaths away. Same articulation. Lift. Long exhale to go. Now the breath has to count for even more as we roll through. One final variation. You're going to inhale to come up and over. Exhale to sit back up. Sounds simple, but it's not. So now we have one breath to go over and back up. Let's take a breath just to prepare. Here we go. Inhale over. Exhale up. Over. And up. Once more. Inhale over. Exhale up. Reach the arms to the ceiling. Let the arms come all the way down. From here, you're just going to take a quarter turn so that you and I get to meet, facing one another. Little different view. And I'm going to ask you to open your arms into a great big V shape. My hands are essentially in line with my pelvis. As I bring the left arm up high, I'll soften that right elbow, allowing myself to go into a great big side bend. Totally okay to let your shoulder blade lift. And now bring yourself all the way up. Opposite arm reaches high. Opposing elbow bends to accommodate the side stretch. And come back. We're going to take a little variation on that. Feels quite different. I'm going to reach that right arm high. Now this arm stays fairly long as I side bend, so just a little bend of the elbow, right? And now I'm going to pull my low bolt in, and I'm going to start to rotate my rib cage. My ultimate goal is to get my right hand to my left. I can rarely make that, but you may. And then I want you to invite the breath to go into your right lung and out again. Come back into your side bend, stepping into a little rotation, and come all the way up. Right arm reaches, micro bend of the left elbow. And now I start to rotate around the center of the ribs. You could think about rotating right around your bra line if you're a person who wears a bra, or just the real center of your rib cage is a great image to envision that lazy Susan. Come back into the side bend. And from here, sit yourself all the way up. Flip the palms, reach the arms high, and press down. Big reach up. Let your shoulder blades move. It's fine. They do not need to stay depressed. This time, reach up. Open the arms into a T and flip the palms down. Little tiny circles of the arms. Little itty bitty circles. For 8 and 7, 6. Now reverse the circle. Tiny, tiny, tiny circles. As you're circling, imagine the muscles pulling tight to the bones. Reverse again. Little teeny tiny circles. Seems simple, but it's not. Reverse again. Little teeny tiny circles. 3, 2, 1. Flip the palms. Guide the hands to the shoulders. And actually see if you can feel the sensation of your hands pulling your collarbones wide. Right? So I don't have to be here. Now my feet will stay together. My knees and pelvis will stay quiet. And as I pull in and up on my low bolts, I'm going to sit tall. But as I exhale, I'm going to rotate that rib cage again to the right. There's that image of the lazy Susan in the rib cage. Come back to the center and rotate. Coming center and rotate. Focusing first on that right side pulling forward. Come back to center. Left side pulls forward. Now you're gonna meet me in the middle and we're gonna try to deepen this. My two arms will come forward. I'm gonna rotate to the right again, but as I do, I'm gonna reach my right arm forward and my left elbow back. Breathe in, sit tall. Exhale. Now notice that that left elbow's pulling back as much as the right arm's pulling forward. Come back to center. Deepen your twist, right? The two sides have to work together in order for this to truly be rotation. Again, we sweep and we rotate. Meet me in the center. Take those 2 feet and walk them very close to your pelvis. Once you've established that true butterfly shape, you're gonna pick up the outside borders of your feet. Let your eyes just settle at the horizon. And as my spine lengthens, my thighs push down. Now the eyes are not gonna move. Instead, I'm gonna take that sternal bone, that breastbone, and I'm gonna imagine it lifting to the ceiling so that I maybe get the sensation of a little back bend, right? Not in the neck, all happening in the rib cage. And then that sternum gets to release. You're gonna draw the knees together. I'd like you to sweep your feet around to the right, coming into what we call the mermaid shape. We'll just take one stretch here. Right arm reaches high, left arm goes far. Again, I lengthen and breathe and lift, and then I get to migrate into that side bend. From here, you'll sit yourself all the way up, and we're gonna lay out onto our side. Now today, I'd actually like you to establish your pelvis towards the back of your mat. If you're not working with a mat, just a little guesstimate is fine. I'm then gonna actually walk my feet to the front of the mat. So I've essentially established a little bit of a crease in my hips, a little bit of flexion. Now just for a moment, roll back. Just let the pelvis roll back. Not where we want to hang out in the exercise. So now I'm going to roll the top hip forward so I literally feel my 2 hips stacked, which is going to immediately make this more precarious. Now most of you have been doing this with me for a couple weeks, so we're just going to jump right in. Right underneath your waist, I want you to imagine a harness. And for just a minute, let the harness go. So I feel the waist and the ribs drop down. And now literally I'm going to feel that harness and waist lift. Once I've established that lift, I've tapped into my obliques, and then I want to check in and make sure that my right elbow is directly underneath my right shoulder, which will preserve the health and safety of that joint. Option 1, my hand is forward for help, a little bit of balance protection. Option 2, it's on my pelvis, helping me to manage my hips. Option 3, the most advanced, it's behind my head. Now we are going to float the top leg just slightly, and we're going to flex the 2 feet. Core and legs working together. You're going to start to take that top leg and it's going to kick forward as far as you can before moving the pelvis. And then you're going to point the foot and press as far back without moving the pelvis. 2 more slow. And press back. So the goal is the maintenance of this core, not the mobility of your legs. Now I'm going to ask you to greatly pick up the pace. Speed adds another layer of challenge, yeah? 3, 2, swing, pause, center. Top leg lifts, harness is still in play, top leg lowers. The height of that outside leg is determined by the support on my underneath side. If I'm seeing a foot go way up to the ceiling, that's a dead giveaway we've lost that core control. Last one. And close feet. From here, you're gonna lay onto your side. Now, arm can be long, that's my first choice. Arm can be looped. If that is not working for you on your shoulder, you might want to stay slightly lifted. This might be one to sit out. Find what's going to work for you. And now in the same way I was working with that harness image, I'm going to do that here as well. I've got a lift underneath my waist. There's literally negative space. Now from this place, I'm going to point the 2 feet. I'm going to draw my top leg into kind of like a little flamingo position. And now I'll start to rotate into turnout and then back to my flamingo. The thing I love about this variation is you can actually go a little past parallel and bring the knee a little closer to the floor so that we really start to work into rotators and the side of the seat. Last two. We are going to get into some hip flexor work, fair warning. Turn out, hold, and now you're going to pull that knee towards the shoulder, right back to your turned out flamingo. For my dancers in the room, it's like we're heading into a développé à la seconde, but we stop short. Heading and lifting the thigh, retaining the lift in the waist. Make sure I haven't dropped the waist to hike the knee. It's that core stability that we're after. Last one. And pull. Set foot to knee, extend leg long, bend two knees deep, and sit yourself all the way up. There's about 1,000 variations of that sideline series, so we're just plucking out a few. As we did before, we'll lengthen, soften, and arc. Once you've brought yourself all the way up, sweep the legs around, find your mermaid on the second side. We're gonna lengthen now the left arm high, right arm opens. I take just a beat for my side bend. And we get to come all the way back up. Roll out onto your side. Remember, you're perching your pelvis to the back of your mat. And then once I've established my hips over my hips in line with my shoulder girdle, I'm then gonna walk my feet to the forward edge of the mat. Created that little bit of fold in the hip. From there, I'm gonna take a beat to let my internal harness go, and then I get to pick it right up. Once I've established that lift, I wanna organize my left elbow underneath my left shoulder. I get to position my hand, what feels the most accommodating for my support system, and then I'm gonna flex the 2 feet. Top leg does a little hover, and now slow motion, I'm gonna kick the leg forward. I'm gonna swoop it back. We do have a little foot choreography, so I'm gonna flex on the forward, I'm gonna point on the back, but what's really important is the support of the pelvis and the core. Let's pick up our pace. Now, if you're anything like me, you might discover that one of your sides feels much more manageable than the other. Just remember that's why you're here, right? To create balance in our body. 2. Last one, and pause. Now we'll float the feet, reestablish that harness lift. Top leg goes high. We bring it down. Glute medius, outer thigh. This is one of my favorite variations because it is so incredibly slimming for the outside of the hip. Right, as I always say, that little spot that your swimsuit does not cover. We're just addressing that here. But we're also creating a lot more strength and support in our walking, in our natural gait cycle. Last one, lift and lower down. And now from here, I get to come onto my side. I'm gonna find the point of my feet. And then from there, I'm gonna find that passe or my flamingo position. And then I start to turn out. I lower down. I've jumped right into the material. So once you've got the choreography going, find that lift on your waist, right? That sense that my waistband is no longer touching the mat. Again, remember, I get to go past parallel, knee towards the ceiling, knee towards the mat. Whole time we're supporting that lift. Last 2. Last 1. Pull into that turnout. And now we drag the knee in toward us, still lifting on that waist. Set the toe to the knee. Going a little bit beyond into that deep hip flexion. And down, whether you're moving an inch or 3 feet, doesn't matter. We're tapping into our range of motion. Squeeze in and reset. Last one, yes, hip flexor is working. And bring it down. As you extend the 2 legs long, roll onto your front.
Again, hard to see me, so you may want to watch a few and then jump in. But we're headed into my modification of the traditional swan. I'm going to start with my feet and legs together, and then I'm going to separate them what I imagine to be about 4 inches. This is about the stability in my lower body. So the first thing I want to feel is my pubic bone and hip bones literally pressing down into the mat. I'll then feel my legs get long, so my kneecaps literally lift off the mat. And then I'll feel the tops of my feet push into the earth. I've created the stability in the lower body to maximize the mobility in the upper body. My hands and forehead stay connected as I breathe in. And as I exhale, I'm going to move in the middle of my thoracic spine to float head and hands off mat. Lower back down and lift. It is not about the height that you're getting. It's about the movement coming from the rib cage instead of the neck. So as you guide through, you all, you're going to notice your focus staying on the mat the whole dang time. Once more. Now from here, lower the head down, bend the knees deeply, flex the 2 feet, and guide your heels together. Now give yourself a little challenge this morning and see if you can track those heels a smidge closer to your seat. Tiny motion, y'all. My heels draw together, my pelvis reconnects into the mat, and I'm going to just try a little float of my thigh bones off the mat, and I get to set them down. Now, y'all, this is small. So if your pubic bone is leaving the mat, you are not doing the work. Pelvis stays connected to the mat. Thigh bones do a tiny hover. If this is a big movement, trust that something is off. We just don't have this range. Itty bitty action in the hammies. Now from here, lift those thighs again. See if you can draw the heels in a little closer. 10 tiny pulses up. Little lift. 2, 4, compact, connected. 3, 2, lift, and let it all go. Drag the hands by your shoulders. Push up into all 4s. Once you've established your hips over your knees, your hands directly underneath your shoulders, think of that high and low bolt again as you inhale. They both draw in and up towards the ceiling to make a round spine. Lengthen out. And now they literally pull apart to move you into extension. The core is the initiator. And extend. Once more. And extend. Meet me in what feels like a tabletop. The very deep hard work is done. Heading into a bit of rotation again, walk the hands forward. I'm going to locate my left hand and I'm going to gently thread it underneath the right, trying to guide my left shoulder blade into the mat while retaining my pelvis over my knees. Option to reach the right arm forward to help facilitate that deeper spiral. If you extended the right arm, bring it close. Reestablish on all 4s. 2 hands walk forward. Right arm drags and threads through. I want to think right shoulder blade to the mat. Whether or not that happens is up for debate, but that's the idea, yeah? Left arm gets to reach forward. So I feel the energy of those 2 arms. Left hand glides in for support. Come back into that all 4s. You'll walk the feet together. You'll widen the knees. Give me one more cat back. Shift the hips towards the heels just a bit to deepen the stretch in the low back. And then if it feels available on your knees, gently guide your hips closer to your heels. They are not dropped and resting on your feet. They are reaching towards your feet. Once you feel that, if it's available, start to guide your upper body forward, your forehead into the mat, and maybe experiment with reaching the arms longer. Use the hands to gently bring yourself back up, and then find that last place where you can sit. Maybe back onto your cushion, maybe back onto your chair. Taking a beat to just notice your body now, post-movement, in a new state of awareness and connection. And then gently close your eyes. Letting your breath return to something more involuntary. Guide your two palms to your heart. See if you can notice your heart beating in your chest. And let that be a confirmation of real life force energy. A reminder that you are here, valuable, fully full of purpose, an important member of your community, present in this moment, capable of so much. Gently allow your eyes to open. Sneak those hands into a little prayer position. And in our last moment together, see if you can feel yourself perch up on your sitting bones. Feel the length through your spine, the heaviness of those shoulder blades, the openness of the throat, and the very lightness in the skull reaching to the ceiling. Let's take one more deep breath in together as a reminder that we get to do this in community and what a true gift that is. You all, thank you so much for being here today. Please take this as a real accomplishment. It's very hard in these days to motivate yourself to get moving, and you're really doing that work. It's a big deal. Please reach out if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I'm happy to dialogue with you. I'm Christy at Reaction Pilates, and I will look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Just a quick reminder that we have stretch and restore classes and yoga classes and mat and bar, lots of stuff going on online, so great opportunities to move. I hope you take advantage.